All right, let's see. Hopefully this goes faster this time.
I have faith in it.
Mm-hmm. Halfway has a deep sigh about it.
She's tired.
I think it's good.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, good.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. I think it's your line, Reed. Long time no see. Welcome back.
Hi.
I'm so glad to have you here.
The second years were given something new to think about during their Easter holidays. The time had come to choose their subjects for the third year, a matter that Hermione, at least, took very seriously. It could affect our whole future, she told Harry and Ron as they pored over lists of new subjects, marking them with checks. I just want to give up potions, said Harry. We can't, said Ron gloomily. We keep all our old subjects, or I'd have ditched Defense Against the Dark Arts. But that's very important, said Hermione, shocked. Not the way Lockhart teaches it, said Ron. I haven't learned anything from him. Except not to set pixies loose. Neville Longbottom had been sent letters from all the witches and wizards in his family, all giving him different advice on what to choose. Confused and worried, he sat reading the subject list, with his tongue poking out, asking people whether they thought arithmancy sounded more difficult than the study of ancient runes. Dean Thomas, who, like Harry, had grown up with muggles, ended up closing his eyes and jabbing his wand at the list, then picking the subjects it landed on. Hermione took nobody's advice, but signed up for everything.
Love it. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
This is Marin.
This is Emily.
And this is Remember Harry Potter. And good news, everybody. We are back at school.
Oh, yeah.
We are in Hogwarts. We are in the story. Last time that we talked about this book, Harry was experiencing something very weird. He was just minding his own business, writing in this new diary that he found in the bathroom toilet.
Right.
And suddenly he's sucked into a 50-year-old memory.
Weird. Me too.
Same for you.
Maybe not 50, but definitely the memory sucking. You know?
Yeah, so he gets sucked into the memory, and what he happens to see is that, Hagrid was the one who opened the Chamber of Secrets all those many years ago.
Not Hagrid.
So now we're starting chapter 14 of Chamber of Secrets, Cornelius Fudge. That guy.
So I'm looking at the picture at the top of this chapter, and it's a rolled parchment, and at the very top it says XII, which is 12.
Okay.
And so there are 12 governors of the school, and so Lucius, when he was getting his parchment ready, he's like, all right, we need all 12, and that's what he titles this thing. 12, get Dumbledore out of the school.
The 12. He's a creep, man. Ugh. So, about two things the trio were absolutely certain. One, Hagrid absolutely adores monsters and will do anything to care for them. And two, Hagrid would never kill anyone on purpose. So Harry is having some major magical remorse for figuring out how the diary works. He is like, wish I'd never found that diary, wish I'd never written in it. I don't want to know all of this stuff because I love Hagrid. He's my best friend. I hate knowing that he brought a monster into the school that killed somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So the friends, they keep having this. So he's obviously told Ron and Hermione because he can't not tell them everything. And they keep having the same conversation over and over. It goes like this. Riddle got the wrong person. Maybe it was another monster. How many monsters does this place have? The attack stopped after Hagrid left. Riddle shouldn't have told on Hagrid, but someone died. Riddle had to tell to not go back to the orphanage. Hagrid was at Nocturne Alley before school started this year. He was buying slug repellent. On and on and on, over and over and over. And then Hermione, finally, the bravest of them all, says, well, maybe we should just ask Hagrid if he opened the chamber and if he had a monster. And they're like, no, he's our friend. We do not want to hurt his feelings. So they agree to not say anything unless there's another attack. Plus, it's been a while since Harry heard the voice. It's been a while since, there's been an attack. They're feeling a little bit confident right now.
Even Peeves got sick of singing, oh, Potter, you rotter.
Right? So maybe the attacks are over. It's been 4 months now since the last attack. And people are kind of chilling out about it. Like Emily said, Peeves has stopped serenading Harry. Ernie is no longer yelling at Harry anymore. And the best of all, the mandrakes are entering their loud party phase, which means they're really close to their having sex phase, which means they're ready to be chopped up and made into medicine for the petrified people.
Listen, these little mandrakes are little people.
I said what I said.
Is mandrake murder just fine, I guess?
What are the ethics around mandrakes?
Right? They're little plant people.
We raised them from their little tiny pots.
They literally get acne and throw parties.
And fall in love and move in with each other.
Wanna be pot mates.
They want a bone, don't we all? Right? Who among us has not been repotted several times throughout our lives? Is it up to us to become medicine for people who have been petrified?
And do we need to kill all of them?
We can't kill all of them.
There's got to be 30 of them.
We have to save some of them to repopulate the mandrake pots.
So you put 2 mandrakes in a pot, stick them in some soil. 9 months later, a baby mandrake sprout comes up.
I would say it's 1 month.
Oh, they're
max.
on the Renesmee timeline.
Yeah. I will just put it out there that this is gross and it makes my stomach hurt. I don't love it.
I want to be a mandrake. First of all,
they're going to chop you up and make you into stew.
Not one of these ones, but just think about it.
A wild mandrake.
When you're a baby mandrake, you can stun people. You just
you can stun them.
Knock them out. When you get older, someone bothers you, you just peep that little head out of your soil and yell at them. They're gone.
Dead.
Literally deceased. Why were they not using mandrakes in the Battle of Hogwarts?
Oh my gosh, they do, I think.
Do they?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Because I remember...
That's what you should do when there's Death Eaters. Put on your earmuffs and just shake them around.
I might be wrong about this. People in the chat, are mandrakes used in the battle? Because... I
know Blast Ended's...
Okay, that's what I'm remembering is that, Madam Hooch, or who's our herbology lady?
Professor...
She grabs Neville and they run down to the greenhouses. If not for mandrakes, then for what?
If not for mandrakes, then for what?
Lisa goes...
Mimbulus Mimbletoниas.
Okay. Well, Lisa thinks that Hermione... It's surprising that Hermione didn't make a spew for mandrakes. And I agree. And it's Professor Sprout. Yes, thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Professor Sprout. I don't know. I'm going to leave it where it is because I feel like it deserves its own episode. And we didn't do a Mandrake episode. Maybe we'll do a Mandrake bonus-ode.
Good idea.
Because I'm feeling a lot of weird feelings about this.
I agree.
Also, everyone is distracted because guess what? It's time to choose their classes for third year. And apparently, the tender age of 13 is a fine age to choose how the rest of your life will go.
It really is interesting that in their third year is when people start to split into different subjects and stuff. I would assume maybe like your last 2 years you start studying like specific for a career, but there's just too many things to learn, I guess.
Here in America, 13, you're in 8th grade.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not going to put an 8th grader in charge of their career.
Yeah, Hogwarts, it's like if you can go without recess, you can determine your future.
If you don't have to take math or English, go ahead and choose your future.
Yeah. What I would love is if there was like the end of your second year is like a get to know the other classes, and you can just like go for like the last 2 weeks and like sit in on like an overview of each of the courses.
Yeah.
Because like just a list of like names of random things, it's like
some of them don't even know. Like literally Neville is like, well, is arithmancy hard? What does that even mean? I don't know. Who knows?
Are they supposed to like be asking Percy? Because Percy comes over and he's like, oh, Harry.
Yeah, so like...
You know, but like he's not helpful. He tells Harry to take Muggle studies and Harry is like,
Percy gives the worst advice I can imagine. Percy's like, take Transfiguration and Muggle studies. It's really bizarre. So Hermione goes ahead and checks every class. She's going to take all of them.
She just said, smash.
The boys wish they could quit all their classes. They're ready to drop out of school. Poor Neville's family, his whole family is sending owls, telling him what to take. So he's just like, what do you guys think I should take? Dean Thomas takes his wand and just like closes his eyes and points. It's like, why are we going on vacation? Point.
Spin the globe.
He's like, what am I doing for the rest of my life? Point. I don't know. And then Harry is like, I don't have any adults to help me. And so Percy's like, well, Harry, I think you should do all these things. And Harry's like, yeah, that doesn't sound right.
He literally is like, why don't you take divination and Muggle studies?
He's the worst. And so he's like, listen, Ron, let's just you and me, we'll sign up for the exact same schedule. That way, if we hate it, at least we're together hating it.
Good idea.
I love that energy so much, too. And as spring keeps moving along, so do Quidditch practices. Between practice every night and homework, Harry doesn't have time for anything else. But all these practices, luckily, are paying off, and Harry likes their chances of winning the cup this year. One night after practice, he goes upstairs to his room, and he's, of course, had a long day. He's did his classes, did his homework, went to practice. He goes up to his room to drop off his broom.
Excuse me?
But,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but last I heard, there was a broom shed where we put our brooms in after practices.
He's not going to leave his broom in that shed.
He did all last year. Because remember, he took a shower late and he was putting his broom away, and then he saw a Quirrell run out of the thing. Harry just puts his broom wherever is most convenient to get the best tea.
Oh, that's true. But okay, so I was like, he brings his broom up to his room this night.
Yeah.
And then when it's time for the game, like the next Saturday, he goes up to his room to get his broom.
Right.
So he's storing his broom in his room right now for some reason. You're right.
You need to sweep? No.
No, it's not a sweeping broom.
Why is it there? You have a broom shed, Harry. It's right next to the
You know what? Everybody's mad at him, though.
Me too.
So maybe he's trying to protect his broom, his one piece of valuable property.
Right, because Harry always forgets about the cloak also.
Yes, that's true.
He's like, he's not used to having things. And so then he gets these really cool things and he's like, well, better I'll
just put that at the
pretend
very,
like I don't have those.
Very, very bottom of my of my trunk. So he goes up there to put his broom away. And when he gets there, Neville is like, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. And Harry's like, what the crap? And Neville like gestures, and all of Harry's things are everywhere in the room. His curtains are pulled down, I think. His bed is a mess. His stuff is everywhere. His books are everywhere. His clothes are everywhere. Ron comes in and he's like, what the crap? All the pockets of your robes are pulled out.
I love that Ron notices the pockets.
And he's like, obviously somebody was looking for something.
People want to give Ron crap and be like, he's dumb. Listen, he walks in there. The first thing, pockets are turned out. Someone's been looking for something.
This is the sign of a youngest brother.
Yes.
Where he has gone and taken all the pockets out of everything of his big brothers, and he didn't put those pockets back in, and he got in big trouble for it. So he's like, crap our pockets out. Somebody was looking for something.
Because, I mean, spoiler alert, but it was Ginny, so Ron obviously has had Ginny go through something
She's
before.
been taught well.
Yes. Also, okay, so like while he's like looking over the room, he lists like all his things except the invisibility cloak, which is just in his trunk. Did Ginny just see that and was like, I'm gonna just pass by that.
She's like,
that can stay in there.
I don't know what that is, but it looks fancy, and I don't want to embarrass Harry by taking that out.
His
So
fancy cloak. Maybe it's his like security blanket.
she's not going to embarrass him. She loves him.
So she conveniently didn't throw that about the room. Because how terrible would it be if it landed on something and then it was just invisible?
It like lands on the lamp, and so that entire like table is just gone.
Yeah.
Neville's like, I didn't take your lamp.
Harry's like, where's my broom? It was right next to the lamp. Wait, where's the lamp?
Oh, gosh. So it isn't until he puts his very last book away that he realizes that it was the diary. The diary is gone. And he tells Ron, and they run off to the common room where they tell Hermione. And now we have come to the realization that it had to be a Gryffindor who broke in and stole it because no one else knows the password. Now, she's right. They're right. However, is it a foolproof password system?
I mean, not, but 1 year later, where we have the password incident.
Literal escaped convict gets into the Gryffindor common room next year.
Yeah.
So how is it that they're like, nobody knows this password? I'm sorry, but like, I bet 6 Slytherins know this password.
Well, I was going to say, so say I'm at Hogwarts and I'm a Hufflepuff, but I'm like, I really like this Ravenclaw girl.
Right?
I'm 100% giving her the password to come visit.
Me too. Oh my gosh, Emily and I would give all of our friends the Hufflepuff password.
It would be to have a text group chat of passwords, and every time it changed, we would just send a message, let all of our friends know, and like I feel like the Hufflepuffs know everyone's passwords because everyone's like, well, they're not going to like do anything. It's just the Gryffindors and the Slytherins who are like, our password is precious.
You know that Cho Chang was like, hey, Cedric, here's my password.
Right?
Like, passes it. I mean, like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay. So, of course, the next morning is gorgeous and perfect for Quidditch. Ollie Wood is so excited at breakfast. He's, like, shoving eggs onto everybody's plates.
Love it.
But all Harry can think about is who at the Gryffindor table took the diary.
He's just staring everyone down.
He is. He's like, did you take my pockets out? Is it you? Hermione is begging him to tell someone about the robbery, but we don't tell people things at Hogwarts except for our passwords. He's afraid of getting Hagrid in trouble is what it comes down to. And then he goes up to get his broom. And why didn't he just bring it to breakfast with him? What's happening?
I don't know.
So it happens again. Oops. Harry hears the voice. Will you read what the voice says? It's so scary.
Kill this time. Let me rip. Tear.
Oh, I hate it. So, of course, Harry's like, "Ah!" Just screams. And he's like, I heard the voice. Didn't you hear it? And of course they didn't. But Hermione is like, I understand something. And she like runs to the library, as Ron says, because that's what Hermione does. But they're like, I don't have time to follow her or figure it out because I have to go get my broom. So, and there's also like everybody's coming out of the Great Hall, so he can't hear the voice anymore. So he goes to get ready for his game. And as he's getting ready, he is still just thinking about that awful voice. But he feels comforted that at least now everyone is outside for the game.
Not everyone,
Not
Harry.
not
Always
your
forgetting when
literal best
Hermione is
friend.
in other locations.
He's like, it's fine. Everybody's here at the game.
No.
Do you remember literally 30 seconds ago when Hermione went to the library?
Ron said the words to you, when in doubt, go to the library.
Okay, so it seems like the game is about to start. We're like, it's sunny. Ollie Wood does his like practice lap.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's out there. The game's going to start. And just as Harry is about to mount his broom, McGonagall comes out with a megaphone.
Not just a megaphone. This is an enormous purple megaphone. I'm not saying Dumbledore transfigured something else into this, but I wouldn't put it past Dumbledore to have something else. Okay. Never mind.
I love that.
Why would there be a megaphone? They have a spell to do this.
You just point your wand at your throat and it microphones your voice. I don't know. I have stopped wanting to ask questions.
Oh, not me.
So she's like, the game is canceled, and Harry's like, shit, somebody got attacked. And as everyone is like, I can't believe they're canceling the game. This is the best day to have a game ever. He's like, somebody's dead. So she's like, Harry, you have to come with me. And he's like, oh my gosh. And then Ron, of course, runs up to them and she's like, yes, actually, you had better come with me too. And while all of the students are going to their common rooms to stay there indefinitely, do not leave, Harry, Ron, and McGonagall are going to the infirmary. I feel like I'm going to cry thinking about this. I sincerely, when I was taking my notes on this last night, I started crying because I was like, I cannot stand this. These children are 12 years old. This is too much for them. So they learn that there's been another attack, and this was another double attack. And while Harry's trying to grapple with this info, they see that one of the people who was attacked was the Ravenclaw girl who they had asked for directions when they were trying to find the Slytherin common room back on Christmas break. And then the other person attacked was their best friend, Hermione. Petrified by the library, both of these girls were found. And McGonagall holds up a little mirror and she's like, do you guys know anything about this? And they're like just staring at Hermione. They shake their head no. And she takes them back to Gryffindor Tower because she's like, I'll take you back to your tower. I have to make an announcement to the students anyway. I'm really more shaken up about this now than I ever have been for some reason. And maybe it's because we've been so in depth on who these people are. And I just feel like I know all of these people better than I ever have. And Hermione is their best friend. And she could have died easily. And I'm sure Harry just feels terrible about it. They just let her go. And he heard the voice and he still let her go to the library. I cannot.
Yeah.
Whew. So In great tradition of Hogwarts, we're not sending the kids home. We're not canceling classes. We're not even putting the students on lockdown in their common areas. We're putting a curfew on the castle, and we're shuttling around the kids with whatever teacher happens to be closest to them at the moment.
I will always find it hilarious that instead of having teachers rotate rooms and just having all the kids stay in one room,
No.
they instead are just shepherding them.
It's
around
whatever
the
teacher is
castle.
closest to you. If you have to go to the bathroom, oh crap, Snape's next to me. Professor Snape, I have to poop. Like,
Yeah.
this is the worst.
He's like, just crouch down, I'll take care of it.
I know a spell
We've
for
been
that.
through this before.
This is the worst plan. It's terrible. A lockdown, a full lockdown to your common rooms. We don't need to keep doing classes for now, right?
Right.
We don't.
Definitely not.
Okay. So the kids are terrified. And McGonagall is really messed up about this. She almost cries when she tells them how upset she is and how they might have to close the school, and that if anyone knows anything, they need to say something. And after she leaves, Lee Jordan is like, all right, everybody, this has to be a Slytherin, because the only people whose housemates haven't been petrified is the Slytherins. And everyone's like, yeah, absolutely. And Percy is like sitting there like pale as can be. He's in shock about all of this. But actually, that other girl, that Ravenclaw, her name is Penelope Clearwater, and she's a prefect. But most importantly, spoiler alert, that's Percy's girlfriend. But all Harry can think about is Hermione lying there all petrified, and how he can't go back to the Dursleys, and how he understands exactly how Tom Riddle felt 50 years ago. This is literally history repeating itself. And Harry's like, I cannot go back to the Dursleys. Now I know why Riddle had to tell on Hagrid, because I can't go back to the Dursleys. He couldn't go back to the orphanage. It's the same thing. Ron asks Harry what they're going to do and if he thinks they suspect Hagrid. And Harry is like, okay, now's the time, Ron. I'm getting the invisibility cloak. And we're going to go visit Hagrid. It's just, it's gone too far. So late that night, after the roommates, after Neville and Dean and Seamus are asleep. So it's really late at night. I'm imagining that it's close to midnight, probably. They get under the cloak and they make their way through the weirdly full castle. It goes into detail about how there are teachers and prefects and all sorts of people. Are there prefects patrolling?
Yes.
They're students.
Yes.
They're not adults.
Right. Yes.
So they have to walk past all these people, and it's really hard. They've been in the castle in the middle of the night before, but there's never been like people everywhere. And they see Snape, and it's like, luckily Snape has a large sneeze just as Ron stubs his toe and makes a swear. And finally they get out of the castle, they get all the way down to Hagrid's hut, and they get on the porch, and then they take the visibility cloak off.
Okay.
Where's Hermione? They stand on the doorstep and they take the cloak off. No, stand on the doorstep, knock, open the cloak a little bit, stick your face out.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. It seems real bad. The jumpiest Hagrid you can imagine opens the door to them. He's literally got a crossbow pointed at their heads. Harry's like, what's that for? He lets them in, and he's trying to make them tea because he's nothing if not
hospitable.
But he's like, he makes such a big mess. He spills water. He doesn't even put the tea into the water. He goes to get, he says that he was expecting someone. And yes, he had heard about Hermione. And then when he was about done making tea and giving them some fruitcake, there's a knock at the door. So the kids cover themselves back up really fast, and Hagrid opens the door, and it's Dumbledore and someone Harry didn't recognize. It's an older man in this dumb, colorful outfit. And Ron is like, that's my dad's boss, the Minister of Magic, Cornelius Fudge. And unfortunately, Fudge is there to take Hagrid away. And Dumbledore is like pissed about it. And he's like, Fudge, Hagrid has my full confidence. And Fudge is like, sorry, I have to take Hagrid away just until they can make sure someone is caught for the attacks. This is politics at its highest corruption level of corruption.
I hate just simply everything about everything.
It's so awful. It's so messed up. It's so like, we have to have a scapegoat. We think this guy might have done this before. We're not sure. We don't know. But you know what? We're going to lock him up anyway, because maybe, and we have to lock up somebody. Somebody needs to be held responsible for this. So we'll just take the easiest target.
Yeah.
This poor man.
I mean, it's bad either way, because say it was Hagrid who was attacking people. They let it get to 4 people attacking before.
Yeah, if they really thought it was Hagrid, why didn't they take him when the first kid was petrified?
At least, like, take him off school grounds.
I mean,
like, literally anything, but no, they're late on action, and then they do the complete worst action.
I mean, he's literally like,
so dumb.
He goes, Ministry's got to do something. The school governors have been in touch. And if it turns out that it isn't Hagrid, he'll be back. And he's like, it's just a precaution. And if they catch someone else, we'll apologize. It's atrocity after atrocity. It's so messed up. It's so awful. Hagrid is like, no, please not Azkaban. And just when we all thought it couldn't get worse, it does get worse. Because freaking Lucius Malfoy shows up. And he comes in and he immediately starts bullying Hagrid about his house. Because Hagrid's like, get out of here. And he's like, no, trust me. I don't want to be here. Your place is tiny and gross. And then he spends a second... and then he announces that the governors of the school are suspending Dumbledore as headmaster. And even Fudge doesn't agree with this. But the decision is up to the governors. And there are still kids being attacked. And they all voted to remove Dumbledore. And Hagrid's like, how many of the governors had to be threatened and blackmailed into agreeing? And then Malfoy, instead of, answering him, he just bullies Hagrid again about having to go back to Azkaban. Hagrid starts yelling. Dumbledore agrees to step down. Fudge tries to argue. But Dumbledore, who had been just like fire eyes at Malfoy the whole time, he interrupts everyone. And he says slowly and clearly, you will find out that I will only truly have left this school when none here are loyal to me. You will also find that help will always be given at Hogwarts to those who ask for it. And then he looks at Harry. And Harry's like, I'm under an invisibility cloak. And he knows he just looked at him.
It doesn't matter. Dumbledore... He knows all your business, Harry.
But Malfoy is like, okay, that was dumb. Let's go. And Fudge waits for Hagrid. They're all leaving. They're going to take Hagrid to Azkaban. They're going to kick Dumbledore off of campus. Fudge is like, this sucks, but we have to do it. And so Fudge is standing there and he's waiting for Hagrid. And then Hagrid's like, well, I also have something to say. He goes... if anyone wanted to find out some stuff, all they'd have to do would be to follow the spiders. That'd lead them right. That's all I'm saying.
And Fudge is just like,
what the fuck? He's like, okay. And then Hagrid is like, also somebody needs to feed my freaking dog while I'm gone. And then they're all gone. So Harry and Ron take off the cloak, and Ron is he has this big freak out about Dumbledore being gone. What is it? I wrote down that he had a freak out about it, but now that I'm thinking about it, he talks about how Dumbledore's the greatest wizard ever to live, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, man, these people really have all the kids like bamboozled.
Well, because he takes out the invisibility cloak and he goes, we're in trouble now. No Dumbledore. They might as well close the school tonight. There'll be an attack a day with him gone.
Oh, right. So Ron is under the impression that the reason that only 6 people have been attacked is because Dumbledore's the headmaster there.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a weird, like, leap of logic that he's made.
Yeah.
How is he thinking that it's just because Dumbledore was there? I would say it's because Dumbledore was there and nobody's done anything that so many kids have been attacked.
Yeah,
and
it is a weird.
I gotta be honest, like, I don't agree that Dumbledore should be removed, but if I was one of the governors of the school, and Lucius Malfoy, like terrifying, scary Lucius, came to me and was like, we got to get Dumbledore kicked off, I would probably just be like, yeah. And I wouldn't agree that like Hagrid needs to be removed, but I'd be like, we have to do something.
Yeah.
And since Dumbledore isn't doing anything and the school is still open and my kid is still sitting there, I just would not be okay with that.
Yeah. The thing I hate about this wizarding justice system is you can just await your trial or await more information being found out in Azkaban. Like, the second they're, like, suspicious of you, it's like, go sit in Azkaban for a while. Like, we'll be back.
There are so many...
What?
Like, put them in... There has to be a middle-of-the-road detention.
Well, there's, like, literally courtrooms in the Ministry of Magic. There has to be, like...
There's prison cells in the Ministry, aren't there?
I think so.
Like, so that's where you hold your people while they await trial. So put them in the Ministry. Yeah,
there has to be... And if there's not, it's so easy to add that to the freaking Ministry of Magic. Just add another floor that has like temporary housing or whatever. Like,
it is so awful.
It's so stupid. And the fact that they just were going to leave the dog there.
Oh my gosh. You can just leave the dog?
Dumbledore just winked at me under my invisibility cloak. You better believe I'm taking Fang up to the dormitory with me.
Fang sleeps in Neville's bed now.
Yes, they're
Neville,
besties.
Get to the floor.
No, they're going to snuggle.
Yeah, they are.
Be the pillow. But, like, the fact that all of them just leave the dog there in the house, and, like, that's unforgivable.
It is, because he's got to go outside to poop. He needs food. Like, I don't know. It's so awful. Anyway, so that's the chapter.
Oh, yeah. I just wasn't done yelling yet.
But you can keep yelling.
Thank you.
I'm here for it. What have these guys been yelling about?
Oh, I don't know. Lisa says, it sounds like the line in Twilight. Was Harry irrevocably in love with hatred? Oh,
no. But I did understand 2 things.
Realizing I'm not terribly behind, starting the chapter 11 episode after work. Nice. It's interesting that Hermione didn't start a spew for mandrakes. I don't remember them being there, but my memory has been getting worse. Professor Sprout. Let's see. Just listening in on a class. Also 13 years old is way too young to select what you want to do. I had to do it from 18 to 22 and I wasn't ready then. The Friends theme warned me someday it might not be my week.
Joshua.
I'm sorry about your fall, Joshua. That sucks. Remember when Harry runs up to Dumbledore's office and just shouts anything until he hits it? I bet anyone could say anything random and eventually he'll hit it. Yeah. I never thought of the kids sharing passwords. I would 100% share my password with you all, but I'm pretty sure we're all Hufflepuffs. Yes. Marion, dear, we can hear your pen clicking.
Oh, no. Was I clicking it? Thank you, Pam. I'm sorry.
Pam stress clicks. Marion is Morse coding us her password. Pen clicking makes me want to cry.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I'll never hold my pen again.
She's a transfer student from La Push. Oh yeah, Clearwater.
Cute.
Is she related to Seth and Leah?
She
I
must
believe
be.
so. I have never loved a crossover more. I choose to believe. Why couldn't it be Follow the Butterflies? We don't know how many letters Molly and Arthur are sending Ron that say, "Trust Dumbledore."
Oh.
I would believe that that's all they send over and over.
Yeah. There was something else I was going to say. I can't remember. What were we going to do? Do you remember what I said we should do a Patronosode about? I can't remember. It was close to the beginning.
Oh, on Mandrakes.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say something else about Mandrakes. But what did I say about Mandrakes in the chat?
That Hermione should have started Spew for Mandrakes.
Oh. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. That was a really disturbing and upsetting thing to talk about. I feel really messed up about this whole chapter because I am heartbroken that Hermione is laying there petrified and that nobody's doing anything to help the kids really in any actionable way. And I'm upset that Hagrid has to go to... I'm just upset about the whole thing.
Yeah, well, and especially for Hermione, it was literally one realization in 30 minutes that was the difference between her dying and her being able to protect herself. You know?
Yeah, and they just didn't even think about it. Like, Harry had his game to go to, and she ran to the library like she always does. That's such a normal thing. And, of course, Ron goes to the game, and then Harry's so distracted that he's like, everybody's out here. At least everybody's out here. Everything about it is so, so distressing.
Yeah, I didn't really realize, but, had Hermione not gone to the library, Penelope would have died.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because she probably was on her way out of the library, and Hermione's like, wait, do you have a mirror?
I really hate it.
Yeah.
I'm really, really upset about it. So what Emily and I are going to do is we're going to record a Patronosode now. We're going to talk about mandrakes.
Yeah, we got to learn more about these little plant people.
Yeah. Also, we're going to talk about whether or not Hermione should have made a spew type of thing for mandrakes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to talk about that. And if you would like to hear that episode, then come join us on our Patreon. And I think that is it for this week. So do you want to do the thing?
We'll see you guys next week with the next chapter in the book. And until then, let's create something magical together.
Bye.
Bye. Oops. Okay. I was about to be like, ooh, what's the Remember gonna be? But then I was like, oh, wrong podcast. Speaking of which, have you guys listened to Ashley Green's Twilight podcast?
I have not. But I know that some of the
These
people
guys
here have.
I can't tell her apart from her co-hosts. Their voices are the same. Makes me love Marin and Emily even more.
Oh my gosh.
A Minnie Mouse in the train.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're going to go do our little epi, which will be available for you guys to listen to soon. And I think, yeah, that's all we're doing today. So
yep.
Thank you guys for hanging out.
I love you guys.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. This was